Namaste my dear students, welcome back to Biomolecules video class 6. Dear students, in our previous video class we come across regarding how to convert a Fischer cyclic ring structure into Haber structure with respect to glucose followed by galactose, fructose and also disaccharides like maltose, lactose and sucrose. So friends, in today's class let us look at inversion of cane sugar followed by how to write the structure of polysaccharides and biological importance of carbohydrates. So dear students, now let us focus on inversion of cane sugar. In sucrose, inversion of cane sugar. Inversion of cane sugar. So what is the meaning of inversion of cane sugar? Students, when sucrose is subjected for hydrolysis, when sucrose undergoes hydrolysis, there is a change in optical rotation. From dextro positive to levo. From dextrorotatory to levorotatory, that is negative. This process is called inversion of sugar. And the products are called, and the products which are obtained, and the products are called invert sugar. So what is inversion of sugar means? When sucrose undergoes hydrolysis, there is a change in the optical rotation from dextrorotatory to levorotatory. This phenomenon is called inversion of cane sugar, and the products which are obtained, they are called invert sugar. Look at the reaction here. What is the formula of sucrose? C12H22O11. When you subject it for hydrolysis, sucrose for hydrolysis, okay, it undergoes hydrolysis to form glucose. Formula C6H12O6 plus fructose C6H12O6. So this is glucose, fructose. What is the optical rotation of glucose? It is plus 52.5 degree. Optical rotation of fructose is minus 92.4 degree. So as we know, sucrose is the dextrorotatory compound. When it undergoes hydrolysis, there is a change in what? Dextrorotatory to levorotatory. You can look at here. When sucrose undergoes hydrolysis, I am getting both the products, dextro and levo. When you compare dextro and levo, which is having more value? That is levo, fructose. Negative sign is having more value. Hence, this phenomenon, the conversion of dextrorotatory compound into levorotatory compound, this process is called inversion of sugar, and the products obtained is called invert sugar. Yes students, this is regarding inversion of cane sugar. Okay students, next concept, polysaccharides. carbohydrates with high molecular mass. Polysaccharides are the carbohydrates with a high molecular mass which are obtained by the polymerization of n number of monomer units. Which are obtained by the polymerization of large number of monomer units are called polysaccharides. Then what is the general formula of polysaccharides? C6H10O5N. Okay, now it is a time to focus on structure of polysaccharides. Otherwise, still if you want any still more information regarding polysaccharides, that one we already come across in our previous classes, isn't it? So anyhow, let me recall that one. See, polysaccharides are the colorless amorphous solids. These are the colorless amorphous solids. They are insoluble in water. They are insoluble in water. Okay. So anyhow, example for polysaccharides: starch, glycogen, and cellulose. In our one of our class we come across starch is the storage polysaccharide present in plants, whereas glycogen is the storage polysaccharide present in animals. Okay. Whereas cellulose, it makes the important constituent of cell wall. Okay, now starch. When starch upon hydrolysis, let us focus only on starch now. What is starch? A starch is the one of the important dietary carbohydrate, a dietary polysaccharide. Starch is the storage polysaccharide of plants. Starch upon hydrolysis. When starch undergo hydrolysis, it gives n number of alpha glucose. When starch undergo hydrolysis, it gives n number of what? Alpha glucose. Means this indicates starch is made up of what? Alpha glucose. When large number of alpha glucose combine together, when they join together, they form a chain of what? Starch. Then another one, starch is made up of two important components. Starch is made up of two important components. One is amylose. Another is amylopectin. One is amylose, another is amylopectin. Amylose and amylopectin. Let me look at the differences between amylose and amylopectin. What is the meaning of amylose? What is the meaning of amylopectin? Let us look at. What is amylose? See, amylose is the water soluble component. Water soluble component or constituent of starch. Whereas amylopectin, it is water insoluble component or constituent of starch. Then second point, amylose constitutes 15 to 20% of the starch. Amylose constitutes 15 to 20% of the starch, whereas amylopectin constitutes 80 to 85% of the starch. Means 15 to 20% of the starch is made up of amylose, 80 to 85% of the starch is made up of amylopectin. Then further amylose exhibits straight chain structure. Amylose has straight chain or unbranched chain structure, where each glucose unit, say n number of glucose is there. Here n may be from 1000 to 2000. Okay. Each glucose molecule combining with another glucose molecule with a glycosidic linkage C1 to C4. A straight chain structure with the C1 to C4 linkage. With the C1 to C4 linkage. What about amylopectin? Amylopectin is the branched chain structure. Amylopectin exhibits branched chain structure. Branched chain structure. Of course, it is also having a straight chain and having some branches. Having the branches. Straight chain with same C1 to C4 linkage, and branching takes place. The branching takes place in between the chain from C1 to C6 linkage. C1 to C6 glycosidic linkage. Glycosidic linkage. So it is having a branch chain structure. The branching takes place between C1 to C6 glycosidic linkage. In case of amylopectin, the branching takes place for every 24 to 30th glucose unit. 30th alpha glucose unit. The branching takes place. The branching takes place for every 24 to 30th glucose unit. So this is what regarding amylose and amylopectin. Now time to focus on structure of amylose and amylopectin. Okay dear students, now let us focus on structure of starch, especially in that structure of amylose. As we came to know, amylose constitutes 15 to 20% of the starch. It is a water soluble component. It exhibits straight chain structure. Straight chain structure means one glucose unit combining with another glucose unit through the C1 to C4 glycosidic linkage. Look at now. First you draw the structure of what? Have a structure of glucose. Draw the have a structure of glucose. That is HOH, alpha glucose. We have to consider what? Alpha glucose. HOH, second carbon also HOH, third carbon OHH, fourth carbon HOH, fifth carbon is here, sixth carbon CS2OH, and below H. This is the one alpha glucose. Combines with what? Another alpha glucose. Combines with what? Another alpha glucose, like this. Draw once again the same structure again. HOH, HOH, OHH, HOH, CH2OH, and H. See, this is the one monomer, this is the another monomer. Okay. Now show the what? Glycosidic linkage. That is OH and H eliminated as a water molecule. Eliminated as a water molecule. What is left? Oxygen is left. Show this oxygen in the middle. Show this oxygen in the middle. So now this becomes what? A structure of disaccharide. A structure of disaccharide. It is also what? Maltose. Structure of maltose made up of both alpha glucose unit, isn't it? Now make it what? Amylose. Structure of amylose. How? Show the continuity. Means think that if another glucose structure is there here. Think another glucose structure is there here. What happens? This OH combines with another OH like this. The OH combines with another OH of another glucose to form another structure, isn't it? So like that you show the continuity. You show this continuity like this. Okay. Similarly here also you show the continuity. Put the bracket and just you can write N. So this is what a partial structure of what? Amylose. Partial structure of amylose. Similarly, write the structure of what? Amylopectin. Starch is made up of two components now. One is amylose, another is amylopectin. Amylopectin structure. Dear students, just to look at here, let me convert the same structure into amylopectin. Otherwise, I need to write separately there. It may consume some time. Anyhow, let me write it. Okay, dear students, look at here. The structure of amylopectin. First, what you do? write the structure of what? Glucose as usual. Alpha glucose you write. Okay, below also you show some structure of alpha glucose, a straight chain structure you show. Okay, now what is amylopectin? Amylopectin is the water insoluble component of the starch. Correct? It constitutes 80 to 85% of the starch, isn't it? And it also having branched chain structure. The branching takes place especially from C1 to C6. Correct? The branching takes place between C1 to C6 glycosidic linkage. C1 to C6 glycosidic linkage means, let me consider this one. Of course, before that one thing, the branching takes place between C1 to C6 here. Let me show that one later. And one thing, the branching takes place for every 24 to 30 glucose unit. Between 24 to 30 glucose unit means, for example, let me consider this glucose as it is having continuity. Let me consider this glucose structure as having continuity here. Okay, let me show continuity like this. Okay, it is having continuity. Think that this is the glucose number 24. This is the glucose number 24. Means behind this you are having glucose number 23. Behind this you are having glucose number 22. Like that 21 like that is there. You think. Okay. 24. Next is 25. So between 24 to 30 there may be a branching takes place. There may be a branching takes place between 24 to 30. Look at here. Glucose number 24. This is the glucose number 25 you think. This is the glucose number 25. Show the bonding as usual, that is okay, glucose number 25. Next, this is what? Carbon number 1. This is a carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Correct? So look at the below chain. Here also same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The branching takes place between C1 to C6. C1 to C6. So let me show. OH and 1H you remove. Here CS to OH were there. Here OH is there. Let me remove water molecule. OH and H. Show this oxygen middle. Show that oxygen middle like this. Okay. Link to what? 6th carbon. So this becomes what? Structure of amylopectin. A partial structure of what? Amylopectin. Okay, dear students, next structure is structure of glycogen. Structure of glycogen. As we know, glycogen is the storage polysaccharide present in animals. Name the storage polysaccharide present in animals means answer glycogen. So as we know, this glycogen is stored in liver and muscle cells. It is stored in liver and muscle cells of the animals. So when we require glucose, a glycogen converts into glucose by the enzyme catalysis. Anyhow, what is glycogen? Same as usual, glycogen is also made up of alpha glucose unit. Glycogen is also made up of n number of alpha glucose unit. When glycogen undergo hydrolysis, it gives n number of alpha glucose unit. Glycogen is also called animal starch. Glycogen is also called animal starch. What is the reason why it is called animal starch? Because the structure of glycogen is similar to amylopectin. Is similar to a amylopectin of starch. Is similar to amylopectin of starch, but the branching takes place. For every 10th glucose unit. For every 10th glucose unit. Means in case of amylopectin, structure of amylopectin, as I mentioned already, think this is the glucose structure 23 or 24. If this is the 25, a branching taken place. Correct? In case of amylopectin, branching takes place between 24 to 30. It may be from the glucose 24, maybe from glucose 25, or maybe 26, 27, or up to 30. Between that, the branching takes place. But in case of glycogen, the branching takes place for every 10th glucose unit. For every 10th glucose unit means the structure is same. The structure of glycogen is same like amylopectin of starch. What is the difference means? Same structure. Same structure. Just have to think here. This is the glucose number 9. This is the glucose number 10. From the 10th glucose unit, branching takes place. What is the branching? C1 to C6. C1 to C6. So this is what the structure of what? Glycogen. So next, let me focus on structure of cellulose. Structure of cellulose. Structure of. Okay, students. Next is structure of cellulose. Structure of cellulose. So as we know, cellulose is the another example for polysaccharide, and cellulose constitutes important material of what? Cell wall. It is important material of cell wall, okay, especially plants. And we know, if you consider the plant material, the 33% of plant material is made up of cellulose. The 33% of plant materials are made up of cellulose. So what is the hydrolysis product of cellulose? When cellulose undergo hydrolysis, it gives n number of beta glucose. Whereas starch and glycogen, upon hydrolysis, they are given n number of alpha glucose, but cellulose is giving n number of beta glucose. And cellulose is also a water insoluble component. It is also a water insoluble carbohydrate. Okay. It also exhibits what? Straight chain structure. Look at the structure of cellulose. See, we have to write beta glucose. That is, write the Haworth structure of glucose first. Write the Haworth structure of glucose first. As look at here, beta means the first carbon, OH should be above, H should be below. If I write this OH below, it becomes alpha glucose. If I write above, beta glucose. Remaining is as it is, that is HOH, OH, HOH, CH2OH and H. Similarly, you write the another structure, another monomer structure you write, beta means OH above, H should be below for the first carbon, remaining as it is HOH, OHH, HOH, CH2OH and H. Look at now how to write the structure. Let me consider two monosaccharides first, beta glucose. Now OH and OH. Correct? It is also having C1 C4 linkage. Carbon 1, 2, 3 and 4. C1 C4 linkage. It also exhibits C1 to C4 glycosidic linkage. Look at now. Remove the water molecule. OH and H is gone. Write this oxygen middle. In the middle. Look at the bonding. You will get a N-shaped bonding here. You will get what? N-shaped bonding. It is like N-shape. For starch and glycogen, we used to get a U-shaped bonding like this, isn't it? but for this you are having N shape. Okay. Similarly, show the continuity. Here OH is there. Okay. So take from this oxygen. You can show it in middle. From here you can show it in middle, and you can show like this. Here also oxygen is below, OH is below. Take this oxygen like this and show continuity. So this is what the partial structure of what? Cellulose. A partial structure of cellulose. Okay students, next is biological importance of carbohydrates. Next concept, biological importance. Biological importance of carbohydrates. Biological importance of carbohydrates. What are the biological importance of carbohydrates? So especially the two main biological importance of carbohydrates. First one is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the major source of energy. Are the major source of energy in living organisms. In living organisms. That is a main application. Carbohydrates are the major source of energy in living organisms. Hence, they are also called a biofuel. They are the biofuel for what? Living organisms. And second one is they act as a structural material. Carbohydrates, especially polysaccharides, acts as a structural material. Structural material. So these are the two major biological importance of what? Carbohydrates. Now let me focus on the first one in deeper. That is, carbohydrates are the major source of energy in living organisms. How carbohydrates are the major sources of energy? How they release energy in our body? When we consume carbohydrates in the form of starch and glycogen. So as we know, we cannot digest cellulose because the enzyme cellulase is not there in our body, hence we cannot digest cellulose. Hence, when we consume the food which contain carbohydrate, especially the carbohydrate which contain what? In the form of polysaccharide. What is that? Starch and glycogen. What about cellulose? Of course, the food what we consume, it may also contain cellulose, but our body cannot digest cellulose due to the absence of cellulase enzyme. So anyhow, starch and glycogen, what are these two? These two are called polysaccharides. When polysaccharides, the food what we consume, it contains starch and glycogen, that is in the form of polysaccharide. It undergo hydrolysis, an enzymatic hydrolysis, in the presence of enzyme, that is in mouth, the primary digestion of carbohydrate takes place in mouth in the presence of an enzyme, salivary amylase. In the presence of the enzyme salivary amylase or ptyalin. In the presence of enzyme salivary amylase or ptyalin. In the presence of enzyme salivary amylase or ptyalin, what happens? Starch or glycogen, it is hydrolysis and it breaks down into disaccharide. It converts into what? Disaccharide. It converts into disaccharides, that is maltose. Maltose is the disaccharide. So anyhow friends, let me explain further. That is, when we consume the food in the form of carbohydrate which contains cellulose, starch and glycogen, our body can digest what? Starch and glycogen in the presence of enzymes salivary amylase and taurine, but cellulose cannot be digested because of the absence of enzyme cellulase. So means first the digestion takes place in the mouth. First digestion takes place in the mouth, that is carbohydrate digestion. Okay. Later the food what we masticated, here the primary digestion is taken place. The glycogen starts converted into what? Maltose. Further it enters into the stomach. In stomach, because due to the low pH value, because due to the 1.2 to 2 pH value in stomach, the enzyme tannin or salivary amylase, it becomes inactive. Hence, there is no carbohydrate digestion in stomach. Further, from the stomach, it enters into the intestine. When the food enters into the intestine, now intestine contain what? It may contain undigested starch or glycogen and maltose. So in intestine, the undigested starch or glycogen, or simply let me say polysaccharide and disaccharide in intestine, in the presence of pancreatic enzymes. In the presence of pancreatic enzymes, what happens? It may be a starch or glycogen or maltose. It will convert into what? Glucose. It will convert into glucose. What is glucose? Glucose is a monosaccharide. Okay? In the presence of what? Pancreatic enzymes. Where? In intestine. In the presence of pancreatic enzyme, it may be a starch or glycogen or maltose, converts into what? Glucose. Further, this glucose is carried out through the blood. To all the parts of the cells. In the cells, what happens? Inside the cell, oxidation of glucose takes place. By the oxidation of glucose, it converts into what? Energy. It releases energy. Okay? Means first carbohydrates taken in the form of polysaccharide, it converts into what? Disaccharide by salivary amylase or taurine. Later, this disaccharide converts to monosaccharide by what? Pancreatic enzymes. Further, monosaccharide, that is a glucose, carried through the blood and reaches what cells? Inside the cell, the oxidation of glucose takes place to form energy, to liberate energy. Along with energy, we are getting carbon dioxide and water. Look at the reaction here. That is, say, inside the cell, oxidation of glucose takes place. Let me write glucose. What is the form of glucose? C6. Of course, let me write all the reactions if you want. That is, first polysaccharide, starch or glycogen. Formula C6H10O5. Correct? This is what? Polysaccharide. It undergo hydrolysis in the presence of enzyme tannin in the mouth and converts into what? It converts into what? Disaccharide. Polysaccharide converts into what? Disaccharide. That is, that we call it as maltose. This is what? Starch or glycogen converts into what? A disaccharide, that is maltose. further maltose convert upon under hydrolysis in the presence of pancreatic enzyme or maltase, it undergo hydrolysis to form glucose. It undergo hydrolysis to form glucose C6H12O6. Okay, maltose into glucose. Maltose into glucose. Further, glucose is carried through the blood to the cells. Carried through the blood to the cells. Inside the cell, this reaction takes place. What is that? Oxidation of glucose. Oxidation of glucose. So now, inside the cell, okay, when we do respiration, we inhale what? Oxygen, correct? That oxygen reaches what? Each and every cell through the blood only. So there, C6H12O6, the obtained glucose, what is this? Monosaccharide, okay. This glucose undergoes oxidation to form carbon dioxide plus water plus energy is liberated minus 2850 kilojoules per mole. Okay, plus energy delta H is equal to minus 2850 kilojoules per mole of energy is liberated. So, students, balance the equation. That is, look at here, carbon 6. Balance for adding 6 carbon. Focus on hydrogen, 12 hydrogen. So 12 hydrogen is here. Let me write 6 2s are 12. What about oxygen? 6 2s are 12. 12 plus 6, 18. There already 6 are there. Still I require 12. Means 6 2s are 12. So this is what about the balanced chemical equation, which releases energy. Minus 2850 kilojoules per mole. So now this liberated energy is used for working purpose. The liberated energy is used for working purpose. Not only to do work, it is also used to maintain the body temperature. The liberated energy is also used to maintain body temperature. So that is what regarding how carbohydrates acts as a source of energy. Now the second point we mentioned, that is carbohydrates act as a structural material. Means especially the insoluble carbohydrates. The insoluble components of the carbohydrates, that is the insoluble component of the carbohydrates, that is polysaccharides. The polysaccharides like second one, carbohydrates acts as a structural material. Carbohydrates acts as a structural material, especially polysaccharides. In that, especially insoluble polysaccharides, like for example cellulose in plants, correct? The cell wall of the plants is made up of what? Cellulose. It acts as a structural material for plants. Then collagen in animals, and peptidoglycan in bacteria. They act as what? A structural material. These carbohydrates act as a structural material for what? Plants, animals and bacteria respectively. Students, apart from this, carbohydrates also act as a lubricating agents. Between the bones. It acts as what? A lubricating agent. Further, the important components of nucleic acid. Carbohydrates forms a important components of nucleic acid, that is DNA, RNA. In DNA, one of the sugar is there, one of the ribose sugar, one of the pentose sugar is there, that is deoxyribose sugar. RNA, ribose sugar. So these sugar molecules, they act as an important component of what? Nucleic acids. Okay, and also these carbohydrates also plays an important role in synthesis of what? Antibiotics. Some antibiotics like streptomycin, gentamicin are derived from the carbohydrates. Okay friends, this is what regarding the biological importance of carbohydrates. So dear students, in my next class, let me focus on amino acids and proteins. Okay fine, thank you.